Ever in search of the most luscious little appetizer to bring with me to wherever, my mom and dad's house, anywhere that I'm going, or even something for us to just kind of nosh on a Friday night, I've created some wonderful crab meat Gruyere Palmier. Okay, so Palmier, guys, is, and I'll start doing it while we're talking. I've got my Cuisinart out, and I'm going to put some cream cheese, about 4 ounces. A Palmier is this marvelous little French cookie, actually, and it kind of goes like that, right? Did the noise help you get the shape? And I've got Parmesan cheese, about ½ cup. And normally you bake them with sugar. You find them in little pastry shops in France. But I decided to do a marvelous savory twist with Gruyere. I've got about 1 cup here. And crab meat. Oh, this is so yummy because that crab meat gives it that perfect, delicious, savory twist. Artichoke hearts that are already marinated. Can you ever go wrong with these? Honest to God, I open jars of these things and I just pile them down. They're so tasty to me. A little bit of mayo, about 1/4 cup of mayo, and then a few shakes of a little Worcestershire sauce, you know, just enough to give it that little like flavor. I love Worcestershire sauce for that. And then some Tabasco. You know, everybody needs a little bit of spice in their life. Don't you need a little spice in your life? I like a few more shakes maybe than most people, but, you know, kind of do it to your taste. So, okay, so how no-brainer is this, right? You throw it all in your Cuisinart. Give this baby a whirl. So just a few times around. We're not trying to decimate it. We're just trying to mix it up. And that is it, guys. It's basically done. Let me take the blade up so you guys can really see this. And no, I won't lick the blade. I know better than that. You see? I must taste it, but it's so good. You want it to be about this consistency. Don't whirl this thing to death. Allow it to have a little bit of life. I didn't put my salt in it. You don't need too much salt, guys, because it's already got all of that Parmesan and the Gruyere, which are already fairly salty. So then, all right, so you guys know I have this love affair going on with puff pastry. Oh, there's a little nibble that I missed. You know I have this thing with puff pastry. I just think it is sort of, you know, God's gift to the baker person. I don't know, but I buy it frozen at the grocery store, as you know, and actually put a little flour down because that always helps. And not too much, just so. And then I just roll it out a little bit. I just want to, you know, I'm not trying to roll this thing out like too much. And as you can see, I roll it out actually on a piece of wax paper, and you will see why I do that. This makes life so much easier. We all love tricks. So roll out until it's about, you know, you're kind of looking for it to just spread out just the tiniest little bit here, not much more than that. And then this is the coolest, fun little thing to make. And the great thing about this is you can turn this into like so many other things. So as you can see, we've been cooking together for all of like 10 seconds so far. Take this stuff, guys, and spread it on to your luscious puff pastry that's been thought out, waiting happily for you to do some little magical trick to it. All right, don't like leave any of this alone, and if you do, go back at it later, and spread it out, and you've got this amazing, yummy filling. Just spread it out nice and evenly. Don't worry about getting all fancy. Just get it on there. And, I mean, truly, like, you could do this with a kid. That's how fun and simple this recipe is. So I've got it all take it pretty close to the edges, too. You know, leave yourself, like, you know, a little ½ inch is about enough. So I've got it nicely spread out. And get that on there. Then, here's what's cool about it. Watch how simple this is. Truly, truly simple. Do not be intimidated about this piece. Again, I've already got it on the wax paper, so that's what's so great about it. Flip. Okay, so you've got, first of all, I want to show you, you've got this. Find a little center mark, right? Make a little mark for yourself. Flip it over once on this side. Flip it over once on this side. Flip it over again till you meet the middle. Flip it over again till you meet the middle. Then make yourself a little egg wash. This is just 1 egg that's beaten with about 1 tablespoon of water in it. Put your egg wash right there in the middle all you're doing, my darlings, is creating a little bit of glue so that when you stick this thing together, it wants to happily stay married. And that's it. How cool is that? How darling is that? So then, since this dough is so happy when it's cold and works so well when it's cold, you can see I don't want to handle it too much or anything like that, so that's why you barely want to roll it out. All I'm going to do, now that it's already on the wax paper, is roll this thing up, twist it like it's a piece of candy, whip it into the freezer for a while until it gets a little bit harder so that when I cut it into little quarter-inch slices, it just agrees with me and goes along with it. So I'll put it in the freezer and then we'll cut it up. All right, so I've had this in the freezer for 15, 20 minutes. It just depends. If you need to walk away and do something, then by all means, go do it. And what you'll notice is it just firms it up a little bit. Grab yourself a serrated knife because that will allow you to cut it quite easily without mushing it. You don't want to mush this. The end piece is one you're going to want to end up tossing. And I'm really, essentially, guys, only cutting this about 1/4 of an inch. That will make these just perfect. And I will tell you that I have noticed in the past, so you see this darling little shape that you get out of it, isn't this great? After I'm done cutting these and putting them here, I'll pop it back in the freezer just for 10 minutes, even 5 minutes is great because, again, you want the heat to be able to hit this thing and allow them to just pop up really beautifully. The pastry always works better when it's nice and cool. I notice that when I cut them, what happens to me, and I'll show you, is that I end up having to turn it as I cut it so that I'm not messing this whole thing up. So each time I make another cut, and then when you put them down, just kind of fix them a little bit. I will turn it just a little bit so that my cuts are always straight. So I'll get a few of these done, and then I'll pop them back into the freezer for a little while. So I pulled these little jewels out of the freezer. I always think, like I said, it's great to pop them back in just for a little bit so they harden up a little bit. And then I've got my egg wash, and I'm just quickly brushing it over them. And what this will do is it'll give that pretty golden color that we all want so badly. So then I am going to pop these dolls in the oven, 400-degree oven, about 18 to 20 minutes, and they'll puff up and they'll be so pretty. And then we'll try one. So I just pulled the palmiers out of the oven, and they're so beautiful, and they smell them. They smell so great, and you can smell the crab meat, and the pastry just smells so wonderful. Oops, and they're sliding away from me. Actually, I can let them slide away from me. Now sometimes people flip their palmiers over. I don't, because I actually think they're quite pretty, all poofed up like this, and I think they're quite elegant this way. And so, then just put them on some beautiful tray, whatever you guys have. I mean, you could put them on a wooden board and it would be just as elegant. And of course, you want to serve them when they're still warm. These are just not, this is not the kind of thing you want to eat the next day. It's not great like that. But they're just wonderful, fresh like this, because the pastry is so perfectly puffed, and you can kind of make a beautiful little pile of them. And aren't they gorgeous? And let's just have a quick, let's just have one quick little bite together and just see how good, and just look how pretty that is. And the cheese, the Gruyere, you can really smell it. You can smell it, I know. And pastry is so good. And the crab is perfect. And then that little bit of Worcestershire and that little bit of Tabasco. I hope you're keeping puff pastry in your freezer like I told you to.